Music is destroying you. People think that listening to music is quite harmless and listening to depressive, even aggressive music will do nothing to affect your life. That is complete and utter bullshit. I don't know who really believes that. Now, when I was coming here to this forest, I wanted to experiment it myself because I was still kind of iffy about the subject. Because, I love music. We love music. We love to listen to it. We love hearing it in the gym. We love hearing it like before we go to sleep, when we wake up. We love hearing it all the time. But we actually don't know that it's kind of like doom scrolling, but for your ears. Instead of like looking, with your eyes on the screen, you're just hearing with your ears, and it's basically just brain rot in your ears. Listening to some aggressive music or some rapper saying, I killed 1,000 people and I have all these bags, my bottles, my bitches, and you think that's not going to affect your life. Of course, you're not going to become a fucking gangster now. You're not going to, I don't know, rob a bank or something, but how does this actually affect your life? And how can we go about it while still listening to music? Because I love music. Like, there's been other people who have talked about the subject, but I just said fuck off. Like, usually I listen to most people who talk about self-improvement, but when it came to the subject of music, I was like, fuck off. Just fuck off. Music is awesome. And it is. So, how does this actually affect you? Now, to just kind of test my theory out here, on the way to this forest here, it's like a 3-kilometer ride, and obviously I took my e-scooter here, and it took like maybe 10 15 minutes to get here. So I was listening to some music. First of all, I listened to some heavy metal. I love heavy metal, especially before the gym, or when I'm thinking about the gym. I just fucking go like listening to Metallica, Slipknot, and all that. No, they're fucking, obviously, you probably don't even like heavy metal. I'm in the, in the deepest part of the iceberg right now. So I was listening to I think, Metallica, Master of Puppets, maybe you know that song. And to be honest, the first part of that song, I was quite, energized, quite happy. But as the song progressed, bro, I realized that I started, thinking negative thoughts. Like, I started remembering, I don't know, times where, I don't know, I was arguing with people, or times with my ex, and when the ex texts me back after 6 months, I started thinking about that for kind of no reason. Like, my thoughts just drifted off from, okay, I want to experiment, and suddenly I'm thinking about how my ex texts me back after 6 months or some random bullshit, right? So what, for example, heavy metal, what that does is it brings the sadness and the anger out. That isn't a bad thing, but using this on a daily basis without actually really using it, if you use music to bring out the emotions without obviously knowing it, and suddenly you're just mad while, I don't know, going to the shop, that's obviously shit. You're gonna be like some weird asocial, antisocial kind of weirdo in the shop, and people are looking at you kind of because you're with your hood up, and you're kind of like a dickhead looking around the, I don't know, the fucking yogurt section, and then people just think you're a dick model because you're kind of making an insincere grin, and you're just kind of you just look weird because you're listening to this dark music, or not really dark music, but this kind of negative, maybe aggressive, depressive music, and it's obviously going to have effects on how you think in that moment. You're going to think negative thoughts. You can try this out yourself. After you watch this video, start listening to whatever music. I mean, you probably listen to a vast variety of music, to, I don't know, aggressive heavy metal, maybe some gym edits, some type of shit like that. And then you probably listen to, I don't know, your everyday, I don't know, some rapper or whatever. Listen to the music and kind of analyze how your thoughts go about. Obviously, you're gonna like think about, you want to analyze, and that's gonna kind of be shit because you're not gonna really think of anything else, about anything else. But eventually, your thoughts will drift away, and you'll catch yourself like, why am I thinking about that? It's negative. Why am I suddenly sad? Why am I suddenly kind of angry? And that's what music does. Music brings and amplifies emotions. Like, it brings out the emotions and amplifies it. Like, maybe you weren't even that mad, like, one day. You're not really that mad. You're not really that sad or that happy or whatever. And suddenly you listen to music that was kind of like aggressive. You're gonna get more aggressive when you're listening to that music in that moment. You're like listening to the lyrics. You're like listening to the heavy, like, beats, and then you're gonna like bop your head probably on some weird shit like that. That's gonna bring out emotions. It's gonna get you angry. It's gonna get you more sad or whatever. And the same thing happens when you're listening to like, you could say, more positive music, like, I don't know, some random rap. I wouldn't say rap either. You know what I mean, like some positive music. Like, that day wasn't even that good, but suddenly you're happy when you're listening to this music. You're kind of like, I don't know, singing along to the lyrics, kind of like looking across the distance, or you're, I don't know, in the car or at a bus, and you're kind of just looking like, this world is great. Maybe you just haven't realized that yet, because you don't really take music that seriously. You take it because want to listen to music. I do too. But really analyze, really look at yourself. What happens when you listen to music? What happens when you listen to like more depressive, more aggressive music? What happens when you listen to more, I don't know, exciting, more I don't know, like more happy, whatever, positive music or some shit like that? Listen, really analyze your thoughts. What happens? What happens? Like, eventually when you're listening to music, your thoughts will drift off, and eventually you'll catch yourself again, like, oh, my thoughts drifted off. I was thinking like kind of positive thoughts there. I was thinking more negative thoughts there. These fucking insects, I swear to God. I was thinking like negative thoughts there. And that's the sad thing about music. Music is awesome, but it will affect how your mood is. Obviously, it can affect it positively and very negatively. So how can we go about this? How can we still listen to our heavy metal, when we're going to the gym, we're listening to our Linkin Park? How can we go about that and still listen to that without it negatively impacting our day? I like to think of music as a tool to amplify emotions. So when I'm going to the gym, depending on what mood I am in, I talked about this in the last video about the dark and light energy. How you feel in that season of your life. So if I'm feeling more kind of sad, more aggressive, like using the fuel of my regret, using the fuel of my anger, some like cringe shit like that, it works. So then I'll listen to like some music that was aggressive, like some like heavy metal, like Metallica, Slipknot, fucking Linkin Park. I'll really get into that mood, and then I'll have like a great gym session. Let's say I'm in more of a happy mood, maybe not in a happy mood, but maybe like a more neutral mood. Like, I'm kind of like, today wasn't great, today wasn't bad either. It was just kind of like there's no point in being sad if you're like in a neutral mood. Might as well be happy. So put on some like happy music, or like more of positive music. You know what I mean. It kind of sounds cringe when I say listen to positive shit. It kind of sounds cringe, but you know what I mean. Like, listen to, I don't know, fucking white girl music or some type of shit. I can't lie, when you're in a good mood, bro, white girl music fucking it hits. Like, usually you're kind of listening to white girl music and I'm like, but especially, bro, these fucking insects. But when you're like in a good mood, bro, white girl music hits different. Or even in a neutral mood, suddenly you're like, when you're in a neutral mood, you can really pick, like, pick your character. Do you want to be an aggressive, antisocial, fucking guy with a hood, screaming through the whole entire gym, I love her? Or you want to be some guy who is like kind of social, like in a good mood, dabbing up every guy in the gym, fucking talking to every bitch in the gym, like raising them up and shit. You can kind of pick your character. Most of the time you're gonna pick obviously the positive thing, but if you're feeling mad that day, there's obviously nothing wrong in using music into like amplifying your energy for that gym session. Now it does not necessarily have to be gym, but amplifying your energy to go about some type of task of the day, your self-improvement. But I recommend using like the aggressive type shit for the gym or any physical activity. If you're just using it to, I don't know, do a homework assignment, you're not going to be able to focus if you're mad. You're going to like write like, no. Being mad is more for like physical stuff. You want to get mad, you want to get physical. You don't want to get mad and start writing on a piece of paper, no. Might as well be in a good mood, like be in a joyful mood, like might as well be in that mood. So this is how you go about it while still listening to your favorite music. Now, if you're the type of guy who listens to like fucking Juice WRLD, that type of niche, like XX, I don't know how do you pronounce his name? XX Temptation. The guy died in like 2018. And then like, I don't know, that niche, or like Billie Eilish, you're gonna be in a sad mood. if you're listening to that music every day, I do listen to music. I actually like Juice WRLD. I like those singers. But I use those songs to like kind of amplify that emotion when that emotion is necessary. Not necessary, but excuse me. When that motion, I just said that again. When that emotion is kind of like necessary, when I can use that in the gym, like, of course, when you're sad, you're kind of like, when you're aggressive, you're like energized. But when you're sad, you're kind of like, obviously you're in a negative mood, but you're kind of like, But you can still use that. I find like gym sessions when I'm just kind of sad. I haven't had that in a long time. It's actually very rare where I just kind of like go into gym sessions like a sad Juice WRLD guy who says, everything's depressed, fuck everybody. No. That's very rare for me. But you can still use that while still listening to your Juice WRLD. So, listening to any music you want, like during the day when you're on the bus or something, listening to, I don't know, some depressive or, I don't know, aggressive music, going to fucking school, you're gonna be in a bad mood. Of course you're not gonna want to listen to the teacher. Of course you wanna punch the teacher in the face when you just listen to fucking Metallica on the way to school, is what I do. First thing I go do in the morning, put some fucking AirPods in, I fucking blast fucking Metallica, and no wonder I'm not in a good mood when I go to school. So you have either listen to no music at all, or you listen to happy music or like positive music, like when you're on the way to school or to work. Instead of listening to your fucking depressive Juice WRLD, I hate my life, all girls are the same, or something like that. Either listen to nothing or listen to actual like positive music. But I get it. We don't want to listen to positive music all the time. But that's the really thing about music is it amplifies emotions. It doesn't bring emotions out. Yes, it can bring emotions out, but most of the time it's really just amplifying it. Bringing emotions out, that effect is way, way weaker than actually amplifying it. Of course, if you're in a neutral mood, you will bring emotions out by listening to some type of music. But most of the time, when you want to listen to music, you want to amplify the mood you're in. When you want to listen to, I don't know, Juice WRLD, you want to feel like, you want to feel understood by the lyrics or something. But also when you're in a good mood, you want to feel like happy with, I don't know, the white girl music or some type of shit. So most of the time when we're listening to music, we want that, fucking ants. I saw so many insects. I don't know where they're coming from. This is why I'm fucking touching my face the whole time. This is why we listen to music, because we want to amplify that, where we want to, what do you call it? We want to relate to something. We want to relate with our happiness. We want to relate to our sadness. This is why we listen to music, because we like to relate to people. We don't like to be alone. That's why we listen to music. my opinion, I just think is right. Like when you think about it, every time you listen to music, all right, what are you feeling? You can feel a lot of things. Okay, today, what music did you listen to? Did you listen to more negative, more sad music, or did you listen to more positive music? What mood were you in just before that? Were you in like more of a positive mood? Did something good happen? Did you hit a PR? Or did something bad happen? Did, I don't know, you got your fucking girlfriend broke up with you, some shit like that. What happened? And most likely you listened to music that amplified that emotion in the first place. So obviously when you're mad and there's nothing you can do about it, amplifying that emotion, it's not gonna be good. You know, you're suddenly gonna be insulting your mother or your father, and you're gonna be like mad at everybody else even though they didn't do anything. So listening to that type of music is gonna be bad. So as I said, use music as a tool to amplify emotions at the appropriate time, to bring out emotions and to like amplify, mainly amplifying it. If you want a fixed rule, you have two options when it comes to listening to music. Either don't listen to it at all, like just don't listen to it at all, or use music. This is the second rule, use music to amplify the emotions at the appropriate time. So when you're going to the bus to go to school, you listen to like some positive music so you don't feel shit the whole day. But if you're going to the gym and you're kind of like in a you're in a depressive or aggressive mood already, like something bad happened that day and you're kind of pissed off, use some aggressive music so that that gym session goes to another level. So just use music as a tool. I hope you learned something.